Hey, good morning, everybody. Eric Buhrendorf here, CEO of EVERNET Consulting, leader in IT management for law firms all over the nation. You're watching EVERNET Reviews, and today I'm really excited. We have a special guest today. So let me bring him on. Today we have Fred Cohen, CEO and founder of Zola Suite, and I'm really excited to have him on. He's going to give us hopefully an overview of Zola Suite and give us a little background about who he is and what he does for Zola. And hopefully by the end of the show, you guys will have an idea what Zola Suite is and how that might be able to be a beneficial product for you to explore for your law firm. If you haven't already, please consider giving us a like and a share and a subscribe so you can be notified of future recordings of EVERNET Reviews. So without further ado, Fred, how you doing?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thank you for agreeing to do this with us. I'm really excited. Fred, today, while we get started here, why don't you just kind of introduce yourself, tell us about you and who you are and where you came from and what you're doing.
Sure. I was a practicing attorney back around 2007. I had a growing practice, and it was very obvious to me that I could leverage technology to help scale my practice. And I had kind of been tangentially in the tech world, and I had a decent understanding of software and what can be achieved with really great systems. I had also read the E-Myth, which was kind of an eye-opening book for me, and it kind of encouraged me to build a practice that is very systematic and scalable in nature. And then that was very inspirational to me, just kind of like from a philosophical standpoint. So I was using different applications that were out there. They were mostly kind of on-prem based solutions. And
So you're saying this was back in 2007?
2007, 2008. I was practicing all the way up to like around 2011 even.
Okay.
And yeah, so I had used a wide range of applications, the legacy products, which were a little bit more robust. But I definitely wanted to go with cloud, and the cloud applications were kind of very basic and they were integration reliant. So they just did very core practice management capabilities, but really for anything like financial management, document management, email, CRM, they required third-party integrations, which was mostly oversold because interoperability was in many ways limited.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't have a single source of truth. Plus, you had to master multiple interfaces, have multiple accounts, multiple points of support, different applications that you have to kind of configure for security, et cetera. So it becomes very unmanageable for small practices who don't have their own IT firm. So that was really the vision behind it. And, we wanted built in, not tacked on. That was kind of our North Star. And of course, we also understood very early on that it needs to be really easy to use, have a beautiful interface, modern, snappy. So we wanted to, obviously we didn't want to compromise in any of those areas either. So it wasn't just about function, but the usability was from day one paramount.
So were you really coming at this from an attorney saying, I need this? Or were you was the entrepreneurial spirit in you and said, I think there's a market for this? Or both?
I'd be lying if I said the latter.
Both, right?
Yeah, certainly. I think we all have like a number of motivations when we do things, but I think if you're not obsessed with that better mousetrap, independent of how much successful it might be as an enterprise, it's very hard to succeed, just the way that humans are wired. So you have to be really passionate about what you're doing, and because it's hard to start a business, and you're going to have a lot of naysayers, and you're going to make a lot of mistakes, and it's that passion that'll help you kind of get through all of it.
Right. That's fascinating. So back into, and you said 2000. When did you conceptualize the product? 2011 or?
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
And back then, it's so hard to try to remember exactly what we were doing in 2011. But were you back then from the beginning? Was it a native cloud app?
Yes.
and so you had the vision back in 2011. Because I remember, I don't know if you don't mind if I do. I'm kind of curious to hear what apps you were running your practice on, and if you would name drop a few. Because I remember there's a product called Amicus Attorney, for example, and we have a lot of clients on Amicus Attorney, and they made a web-based product called Amicus X in the early aughts. I don't know. Have you ever heard of that?
So I know there's a product called Amicus Cloud, which is still around, and I believe that debuted around 2015.
That was much later. But they had a product. They had a product in the early
Oh
2000s
wow, no,
called
no, I've heard that.
Amicus X. It was web driven, and I wish I was smart enough to invoke the imagery here, but it's like those sometimes those businesses, they have the right idea at the wrong time.
Yes.
And it was exactly that. I mean, we had firms that were still on dial-up in the office as their primary connection medium. So it did not do well, to say the least. But it's fascinating to look back. So, anyways, I commend you for the foresight, the vision, knowing that the cloud was the future. So that's fantastic. So can you kind of give us a summary? I mean, you kind of spoke to it, but can you give us a summary of Zola Suite, and who the typical customer is?
Sure. Right now, we have firms that we primarily serve the mid-sized market. So I would say anywhere from like 10 to 75 user firms is probably our sweet spot. We have firms that are bigger than that, and we certainly have a fair number of solos and even smaller firms. But firms that are growth-minded, firms that are technology forward, they understand that how it can be leveraged for operational excellence, to deliver better services to their clients, and be more productive and profitable. So the more cognizant they are of the market and products in the marketplace, they tend to be the better consumer for us. So really, the vision is end-to-end practice management that delivers a single source of truth, so you could run your entire enterprise on it and report across all functions.
I love that single source of truth. I was reviewing an HR product this week and last week, and that was a term that they kept saying. Our product is a single source of truth for the employee.
It's definitely a pain point for any kind of business, almost.
Yeah. I mean, my side project right now is we're scaled. Everything we do in our company is built for scale and growth, and that's why one of the reasons why I just love what you're doing, what your product is. And so me and my team are looking at the HR side of the house right now. How can you be born as an employee or resource, and then kind of be deployed across all of our platforms and products and things like that. So single source of truth. So your typical customer is, so is it fair to say your preferred customer, or the biggest value for you? And I believe us, I have tons of solos, and we love our solos. We really do. But the money really gets good around 10 to 20 seats and more. So for the solos and the 3-seat firms out there, you're certainly not sending them away, right?
No, we're definitely not. And as I said, they're for growth-minded firms, and we find that actually once they break past like 3, 4, 5 users, they're on their way to 15 a lot of times. So, but that's not even the motivation. Honestly, we love being able to deliver the power of Zola to even much smaller firms.
That's great. And now I want to talk to end. I think a lot of business owners or law firm managers or partners, I don't know how much business training you guys. I actually do know. My wife's an attorney for Lego, but it's like you guys spend so much time learning to be the best attorneys you can be, and unfortunately, there's a small wedge of time allocated to learn how to be the best business owners you can be. Is that true?
Virtually like no time. They don't teach any of that in law school. They just throw you to the wall.
Financial accounting and managerial accounting in your first year of undergrad, and that's it.
I don't think I even had that personally. I did have a business prior to actually going to law school, and I made a lot of mistakes operationally, um, and had committed myself to not repeat those mistakes. And somebody turned me on to the E-Myth, as I said,
Okay.
and that was truly eye opening, and it was in many ways the inspiration for what we
We'll,
built with
we'll try
Zola
to
Suite.
link to that book, and I'll definitely want to check that out. So so you built Zola Suite really to say to the attorneys and the practices like, hey, we understand your business model, and let's plug you into the business paradigm. This software is really going to take you end to end. That's the other term that you used, end to end. Can you describe what that means to you?
Sure. It means being able to kind of track all the way from prospect, when an initial contact, before you're retained even, and all the way to the final bill, getting paid, and reviewing your financial
Your work
statement.
product, right? And then getting paid for it.
Yeah,
Do
absolutely. And of course, in the middle, case management.
So we're a growth driven company. So we are all about we have a sales and marketing function. We know what leads are. We know what prospects are. We know what sales funnels are. Do law firms know what that stuff is?
So not really. I think it's kind of nascent. I would say, again, the firms that are more growth minded are increasingly familiar with it. And that being said, products like Salesforce are just way too complex
Of
for
course.
for maybe all but the biggest of law firms, and it just requires so much configuration, and also just even the capabilities aren't suited for a law firm. So, we created a CRM that has the critical functionality that law firms need without a lot of clutter, and just something that's really easy to stand up out of the box.
So what do you say? What do you say to the managing partners or the office manager who says we have more work than we can process? We don't need a product with a CRM. We're head in the game. We're buried in our workload.
Sure.
What about a client portal? Does Zola Suite offer a client portal, for example?
Yeah, no, absolutely, we do. And incidentally, that's not uncommon. We do. There are a fair number of firms that we work with that are, that exactly as you said, can barely handle the workload, and so we definitely want to help them on the productivity side. New business is a little bit less of a priority, and they definitely don't have to use a CRM, and it can even be shut off if, for example, they only work with you know 20 corporate clients, and that's basically it. Yeah, all the features can kind of be enabled and deactivated.
I'm kind of teeing this up for you, Fred, and I hope you don't mind, but I'm a consultant of law firms, right? So that's my role here in this world. And I every day I try to get law firm leaders, partners, managing partners, office managers to see that with the right tooling and the right frame of mind, they can it's not always about necessarily making more money. Like you don't have to come to this with the idea of trying to be more profitable and make more money, right? This can actually be that concept of let's work smarter rather than work harder, right? Does your product kind of it can be kind of positioned in that way. What do you think?
Yeah, that's very well said.
Okay. So, all right, good. So we won't loiter too much on that, but I just really like to hear it. It's sometimes it's lonely where we are because we're trying to constantly beat the drum of best practices from a business standpoint, not just IT and servers and data and things like that. So, all right. So on my list of questions here, I often ask what problem does Zola Suite solve, and I think we kind of beat that to death. Who is your competition? Who does Zola view as competition in this space?
I mean, certainly in certain respects, all the cloud-based applications are competitors technically, but products like Clio and Practice Panther they're more geared towards smaller firms. So once we're able to get in front of a law firm and show them what those more basic products are missing, they quickly realize that it's not something that's going to be scalable as their practice grows. On the high end, there are products like
You're on the spot.
Action Step is the name I'm trying to think of. There is Aderant. So some of those products we compete with from time to time.
Right. Needles, I think, just launched a web or cloud version.
Yes, we don't come across them quite that often. I would say it's because it's very personal injury focused.
Mm.
So it seems to serve more of a niche market. But yeah, that's another product.
Right. And I just met with the CEO of a startup, Case Matter. I think Case Matter. Oh, forgive me for not remembering, but they were really focused on I don't know if it was PI or might have been PI. And I was like, wow, you have a practice management software just like you're just focusing on this one type of law. And she's like, yeah, but we're the best. So I thought she's coming on later, so
Cool.
I'm looking forward to talking with her too. All right, so I appreciate your candor in talking about competition. I know a lot of companies and leaders of businesses don't like to mention competition, but you actually have some brothers and sisters in arms too, right? So Zola, so you're the CEO and founder of Zola Suite, but Zola has been acquired, right?
Yeah, so we merged with Abacus Next last July. So we're part of the same umbrella as some iconic kind of legacy products such as Abacus Law and Amicus Attorney,
Right.
and probably the world's best document automation software, Hot Docs.
Yep. We were saying before we started recording, I was telling you that you complimented me with my youthful appearance, I guess. But yeah, I've been doing this for almost 20 years. And I remember when Amicus Attorney was a company started by another attorney. And I forgot his name, but up in Toronto. And they were a big player. And I was actually a certified consultant for Amicus. And I remember when they got acquired by Abacus, and we used to support both of them. So there's three kind of banner products under your parent company, right? I mean, and are you guys are you bumping into each other, or are you kind of coexisting well? And of course, you want to say you're probably coexisting fairly well, right? Not tip our hat to your parent company and say you are a part of a family.
Yes, we are, and we're very excited to have very significant resources that enables.
That's exciting. All right, so I'm dragging my feet a little bit, but I really wanted to give all these points some due. And I think the last question on this series I asked, what separates Zola Suite from the competition? What is your unique selling proposition? I think you spoke to that. Did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, just end-to-end practice management, single source of truth, beautiful modern user interface.
Excellent. All right. So on these videos, I think there's really wonderful value to your prospective customers to actually see the product. So I always ask our guests if they're willing to actually show us a demonstration of the product. It's not going to be a configuration. It's not going to be technical. It's really up to you to show off what the product looks like and what the buyer's experience or the administrator's experience would be of the product. So I'm going to share your screen. Are you prepared for that?
Sure.
All right, here we go. All right, I'll hand it off to you. I'm going to turn off the ticker just so we don't have a distraction here. And we're looking at Fred's screen. And so you just logged us into a demo?
Yep, it's a demo account, and you have the first screen that you greeted with is the dashboard, which is customizable. So for example, instead of calendar, if you want recent timekeeping progress, you can do that. And
do you have role-based dashboards kind of in the can, or is this something that
we do? Yep. So there's an admin dashboard, and there is the default which can be configured. And depending on the user's credentials, you will have access to things like building collected or timekeeper goals and AR, etc. So
right.
There is kind of a out of the box one for admins, but also any user can customize them with the widgets that are available based on their permissions.
Nice, excellent.
And these are live too. So for example, on the tasks, I can just add a quick task like that.
Okay. And does that get assigned to a matter by default, or is that just kind of a generic task until you assign it?
Yeah. So if you just this is more for like a quick mind dump. You arrive at the office in the morning, and you have to do 13 things, and you just want to get it out of your head before you forget.
Nice.
You do want to start a task with all the different options and fields you could do it, and you could relate it to a matter or a lead.
Take us back up to the email, if you don't mind. This is the nerd in me. I'm fascinated. Is that a feed of a cloud-based mail service? Are you a mail client?
Actually, that's one of the really unique features of Zola Suite is we have a full built-in email client, and it connects to your email account just in the same way that your mobile device does, but it also enables a lot of matter-centric capabilities. So on any page, you could, for example, send out a new email.
Beautiful. And of course,
matter.
Whoever your provider is, you'll see this sent email in your sent items, and it'll follow you across your devices.
That's exactly right. This is not some proprietary messaging. This is exactly. So if I send this email, you go to Outlook and you look in sent items, it'll be there.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Do you remember the days when trying to synchronize Outlook and email and exchange, and what I cannot tell you on the unfortunate amount of dollars I've earned by our clients calling us. Yeah, because I think it was back then. It was the Palm Trio was not synchronizing with the Amicus calendar, and I can't tell you how many times we've had that. Or matter assignment. You know, the expectation of trying to read the contact and assign the communication to the matter. That just was overpromised and underdelivered.
100%. I mean, those were the pain points that I was going through, and that's why I wanted this capability. And everybody said we're crazy early on, and now it's one of the biggest.
It's huge.
Of those.
So can just without, and I don't want to sandbag you, but from a technical standpoint, what email providers do you support? Do you on-prem Exchange, Office 365, Google Workspace, anything else?
Yes, all of those.
And is that fairly kind of wizard driven from a configuration?
Oh yeah, you authenticate the first time you log in with your Office 365 or G Suite account. You authenticate it with Zola, and you're ready to go.
That's beautiful. That's a little technical, but that's the meat and potatoes that I think matters.
So it's very easy to address recipients on the matter. So if the first grouping are your matter-related contacts and the respective roles, then they're the firm users, then it's the full contact list. And, of course, it has autocomplete. So
right. I bet the non-technical attorneys and paralegals out there may find that when they're not at the office in front of Zola Suite, they probably cringe maybe at the sight of Outlook. If you're just doing your everyday in your practice software.
Yeah, and this is not just a matter of convenience. It significantly reduces the likelihood of addressing wrong recipients. Because once you select the matter, you'll see the matter-related contacts and they're color-coded. So, all of us have sent that email to someone that we didn't intend.
Right.
And in the case of law firms, the consequences could be pretty detrimental.
Can I ask you? This is another technical thing, but I think that's important for businesses and firms. Does your product provide a centralized signature manager?
Yeah.
So you can globally manage the signature.
Absolutely, you can have multiple signatures.
And can that be globally administered by the firm administrator?
Exactly.
Oh, that's wonderful. So my company's another thing we're exploring is a corporate email signature manager, so that we can kind of unify our presentation and information. So that's really well thought out.
Also, it runs the timer automatically, and this is configurable as well. If you're not tracking time, this is something else that you could configure.
Right.
It can automatically create a time entry and just save it, or if you just wanted to pop up the time entry window so you could modify the narrative, you could do that as well.
Nice.
And this is also a configurable option.
That's a great time saver, and always wanting to capture the time so it doesn't slip through the cracks. Excellent.
And then attaching documents is since I selected the matter already, it'll automatically present the documents that are in that matter.
Oh, excellent.
But you can also attach from your file system.
Okay, right. If you have a local file, does it support drag and drop? Can you drag a file in from the desktop?
Drag and drop.
Nice. Now I want to talk. You talk two things: documents and we're in email. So let me just finish the conversation about communication. Do you have an inter-office communicator? Is there some tool to chat or instant message, or is that an email, or do you rely on like a
We
Slack?
don't yet. I mean, there is one as part of the tasks that where you could kind of do some kind of messaging to kind of get an update on status of tasks. So it's limited to that currently. It's something that we're looking at, but it's not in the product right now.
Okay. And documents. Now, do you have e-signature capabilities for sending things that need to be signed by clients? And
Yes, we have an integration, and I don't know if you just saw that before I sent that email with our mail. So if you attach a document with a signature line and you use the our mail option, the recipient will be prompted to e-sign the document.
excellent.
So each user gets 5 of these emails per month by default, and they can upgrade that through our mail.
Okay, so that's like a value-added feature. I got it.
Correct, exactly.
All right, let me sit back a little bit. I tend to do this. I lean in and I get really excited about these things, and I don't want to hijack your demonstration. So keep going.
Yeah, no, all good. So up on top, there is a quick add, so you can create most any type of record without first having to navigate to a particular section, which is a big time saver.
Yep.
You could also favorite your report, so you could quickly access them again without having to navigate to the reporting page. There is a side panel here that's collapsible. You can have multiple timers running on this and
Yep.
quick access to recent matters. And on the left side, of course, there are the various functions of the product.
Can I ask you another feature? I'm wondering, do you have inbuilt notifications by chance? Do you like if you, let's say you have an attorney and a paralegal or a number of internal resources that are working on a matter or a series of matters, somebody leaves a note or a time entry or attaches a new document or something. Is there an inbuilt notification system that says, almost like your typical social media network, somebody posts or comments or something? Is there any sort, and it's okay if it's a no, because this is a question I'm asking a lot of the practice managements, because I think it's a paradigm that's kind of being missed a lot. And do you guys have any sort of kind of internal notification mechanism like that?
For billing purposes?
Well, more of like kind of an eye on what's happening on entities
Absolutely.
that pertain to you. Like how does if if an attorney doesn't want to micromanage, but if the new paralegal it preps a doc or something, he or she may want to see something to that effect.
Sure. So, for example, in the context of tasks, if I assign it to multiple recipients, first of all, if I assign this, they'll get a notification both in app and via email. But I, as the assigner, can also receive notification as soon as the task is completed
There it is.
as soon as when it's passed due.
Very cool.
We have similar capabilities across other functions.
Very cool. What else?
There's also, for example, again, with tasks, you could add a comment like,
so that's a comment on a task?
That's a comment on a task, and they'll get a notification based on that.
Exactly.
Similar thing with events. So they can get all kinds of reminders. And if you invite external attendees, you could also set reminders for them via text or email.
Nice. Okay. Oh wow, you support text reminders.
Yep.
SMS.
Yep. Same thing with tasks. That'll also it's configurable. You could choose to receive text notices, email notices, or just in-app notices.
Fantastic. What else?
So this is kind of a quick overview of the product interface. I can, by the way, with respect to email, there's a full-blown email client as well.
Oh wow! Look at that.
Yeah.
It looks like an email client.
Yeah. So, if you receive an email, you could save it to a matter. It'll automatically know based on the sender to recommend this. Asks you to create a time entry. You'll say yes. You can modify the time that you spent on it. And notice that it shows green, which means that not only did you save this already to a matter, but you already billed for it.
Nice. So you said, you mentioned earlier that you got a little, some people said you were crazy for doing that. You spent a lot of development dollars, I bet, on this, but I bet it's paying off now.
For sure. Our users love it.
Yeah, that's great.
And by the way, we have all of these capabilities via the mobile app too.
I was going to talk about mobile, but I didn't want to swamp you. That's great.
So all these email capabilities are available there. And then there's the CRM, which is kind of managing the pre-retention aspect of the client lifecycle. We have a plugin for WordPress. So firms that have a WordPress website, they can very easily add a contact form there.
Nice.
Leads will come in directly from the firm's website, or they could just add it in if it's called in. They could track it by practice area, source. You can also track your conversions, conversion rates, pipeline value, adjusted pipeline value, tracking, clearing of conflicts. So, and once you have a lead that converts, that's retained, you could convert it to a matter, and all the information that you collected in the pre-retention phase automatically comes into the case management.
So then after that, and I'm going to speak to my personal experience I had with a law firm, but so now you have them in, you say pre-retention. So now the next step is the retainer agreement. Yeah. Or the intake.
Yeah, so you can send a retainer agreement, and you could use the e-signature for them to sign it, and then you could convert it into a matter. And once you have a matter, and I'll drill into, right now I'm on the matter list page. Incidentally, you can have different lists. So this is the default view, but you can create your own view. So if you want to see very particular columns, let's say you want to create Eric's view, and you only want to see like primary client, practice area, when it was opened.
Okay, so those are your column choosers.
Exactly. Right. And for example, for even like, you could have like a pre-filter on practice areas. You only want to see.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Arbitration,
right.
Adoption, estate planning, etc.
So total customization there to give you the data that you want.
And you could like reorder like that. And then these are custom fields too. So you could choose to have your custom fields in here too. So let's say if I want to search for our personal injury custom fields, we'll say I want to see the phase and the date of incident. And I could share this view to the extent that they have access to the underlying matters, or I could make this my default view. So now that this Eric's view is created, you go there. And
when you say sharing, you can share a view across the firm to other resources. Okay, so somebody can kind of master some views of data and then share that across the firm.
Exactly.
Nice.
And you could set the default sort, etc. So it just makes it much easier to.
Let me linger on intake for a minute. Do you mind?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we are EVERNET Consulting, and years ago we looked at acquiring the evernet.com domain, and it's being cyber squatted right now. So it's not being used for commercial uses, and I can't hail the person who owns it to buy it, to offer to buy it from them. So I reached out to I got a referral, and I reached out to a firm that's not our client, because I don't like to kind of do a quid pro quo kind of mix and match there. So I reached out to a non-client of ours who does IP law, and I was like, hey, this is our situation. Can you help me? And she's like, yeah, I think we can kind of explore this and see what we can do to help you here. She sends me a Word document retainer agreement. She sends me a Word document intake form, And then I look at this and like, of course, it's totally cringeworthy, right? And I mean, Word was never intended to be a form filler. It's a word processor. It's a typewriter. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, Google Forms, the free version of Google Forms could have made this experience better. And then after the intake, she sends a Word document retainer agreement that she wanted me to sign. So what does Zola Suite do to create a smoother workflow just in that simple and routine concept or scenario of onboarding a client?
Sure. So you can create intake forms and then share them securely. So so for example, if I want to share this with the primary client, it'll automatically present. I could send them an email with this link or copy it to clipboard.
And then convey it in any other means, right?
Yeah,
Email
exactly. And the firm's logo will show up on time. It's secure.
And that's the intake form right there.
That's the intake. This happens to be a super short one, but there's no limitation.
To all the firms out there, stop sending intake forms in a Word document. Stop sending retainer agreements in a Word document. At minimum, look at Google Forms for free. But what Fred and I are preaching right now, does a product like your practice management software should do. This is part of the end-to-end experience you were talking about, right, Fred? It's all about kind of the conveyor belt of business, right?
Well, I like that phrase. I'm gonna steal it from you.
You heard it first here. So that's the stuff that it feels like minutia, but let's face it, you're in a business to provide a service, right? I mean, law firms are service providers, so what is I think so few firms consider what the experience that their customer is having with interacting with the firm. And it's that stuff like that needs to be thought about. Unfortunately, I also see a lot of firms, a lot of attorneys kind of buried behind a few managerial layers, and they may even see that their business practices are maybe less than stellar, but unfortunately, there's got to be a lot of buy-in from the top in order to implement and subscribe to these tools. Have you ever experienced that in your kind of sales journey with trying to promote your product?
All the time.
Yeah. The head honcho doesn't see the value in it. It's not happening, right?
I mean, yeah, there's so many constituents that we have to persuade.
Right. And I've had my own clients where there have been splinter factions within firms running their own business practice management software. Just as like I said, a splinter faction where like the whole firm isn't pulling in the same direction.
I mean, candidly, if we were able to get in front of those decision makers and listen to their concerns and pain points and show them how Zola Suite would potentially address those, like, we're good.
Right.
If we have that opportunity to showcase the product, and frankly, it's not sometimes it's not 100% fit, but
right.
As far as cloud-based products go, this is one of the most robust and customizable and usable products out there.
Right. So we're running. This was always supposed to be kind of an introduction to Zola, a platform for you guys to show off. It was never going to be a top to bottom comprehensive product demonstration. I'm hoping that you guys will keep coming back to keep peeling back the layers of your product and showcasing more. Before we kind of move to a conclusion for today, the last thing I really want to talk about is, do you have a client portal? Is there a client portal that firms can provide to their clients where they can see the work product and the experience they're having with the firm?
Sure, there is. I don't have a login to demo it, but yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Documents can be securely shared, invoices, secure payments, etc.
Cool. Very cool. All right. Is there anything else that you wanted to get in for today?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say there is very robust document management with a lot of capabilities, such as AI-enabled OCR that can even read handwriting. We have plugins for Word that allow you to save documents directly into the cloud, and versioning and lightning fast indexing, etc. So very robust document management, and then there is just complete billing and accounting, including the ability to write checks, manage both accounts receivable and payable, and report on everything, including financial statements, like P&L.
So does the firm need QuickBooks or Sage in addition to
No,
Zola Suite?
they do not.
What if the firm's accountant says, "Well, I really like QuickBooks"? You ever see that?
It happens. I will tell you that tends to be at smaller firms. The larger firms realize that they need legal-centric accounting, and so do their advisors.
Right. Yeah.
And sometimes we might just have to do a training session. But if anybody's used to using a product like QuickBooks, they'll feel very much at home in Zola Suite.
And you can sit here and attest emphatically that this is a full functioning accounting feature set. So
complete general ledger. Yep.
The business accountant will feel fully satisfied in running the business's books out of here.
Correct.
Good. Because that's and I don't know if you guys noticed, but I'm really emphasizing some things. All of the things that I'm pointing on and dragging on and stopping on, these are the things that I hear when we're out supporting our law firms from the IT side of the house. So I can't tell you how many times we've integrated PC Law and QuickBooks into Amicus. That was another. We made a lot of money and still do make a lot of money in supporting that integration, and that's that. So when this is the other end of the end to end is the account.
Exactly.
Excellent.
It's kind of like the bookend from the CRM to the financial statements.
Exactly. The bookends on the business conveyor belt. So good. I mean, I could talk about this stuff all day, talking about adding cost metrics on resources, which we didn't get to, but I presume the product can take into consideration cost values, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So once the software knows what a resource gets paid per hour, all the time allocated to resources, you can actually derive profit reports. And
so we actually don't have a module for human resources. All of the costs, soft costs and hard costs, and even third-party costs can be tracked. But from a human resource perspective, that capability is not in the product currently.
But I mean, I think I may have overemphasized. I mean, if Zola knows what all your internal resources get paid, right?
Correct.
So as they're tracking time against a matter, that cost value is in the calculus, right? So can you run a profit report per matter or a revenue report?
You can, yeah. So probably the most popular one is building collected, and you could run it by multiple dimensions, and you could compare periods.
Right.
As you can see, it's lightning fast. And
that is fast.
And so you can certainly track those, but you could also track costs by matter, depending on what reports you're running.
Good. So do you? I think this is probably good. Right around 45 minutes is a good time to kind of pull back, maybe put a bow on this thing. Anything else you want to emphasize or speak to the product before we kind of pull back?
Sure. No, I mean, I would just say if you have any questions, concerns, even curiosity, reach out to us. Our account executives really not know the product, but they're all highly experienced, and they've been working with law firms for many, many years. They understand the pain points and the challenges that law firms typically face, and we'd be happy to discuss to see if it's a potentially good fit.
So let me ask, I've got 4 outgoing questions all about the buying. So the buying, I always ask, how would you describe the buying experience? So is it submit your information on the website, we'll call you, talk to an account manager? Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. It's very consultative. We want to make sure it's a good fit. And as I said, sometimes we notice that it's not a good fit, and we'll be, very open about it. they can, firms can reach out to us on our website. They can also take the product for a spin and do a trial.
Oh, you do have a trial demo. Perfect.
10-day free trial.
I think that's a really powerful mechanism for software as a service to really get in front of a prospective customer. I always like to ask, how can you tell us how much your product service costs? What's the cost price model structure?
Sure. So we're super transparent about that.
Here, I'll bring you up again.
So we have 3 different plans. Almost all of our users will opt for the Enterprise Plus, which has the most capabilities. So it's $89 per user per month when prepaying for a year.
And you put your prices right on the website. Congratulations. I always throw shade to a software as a service provider that just doesn't do that. So that's wonderful. Excellent. Transparent billing. Looks like the value billing's there. I mean, $60 to $90 per user per month is the value position for a premium practice management software. So your value is right there in the middle, is right in the market. So that's good. And then, of course, the nerd in me, I always like to know what's on the roadmap. What can you give us any exclusive insight as to what features are coming down the pike that we can get excited about?
So yeah, we're putting finishing touches on our client texting module. So there's a law firms, very similar to the way that I showed you email works. Firms can send SMS messages from a firm telephone number, not anybody's cell phone.
Oh, nice.
And send and receive those right in the product.
Is that a marketing mechanism, or is that a service delivery mechanism, or both?
More service delivery, yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So your attorney can text his or her client and say, "I'm in the courthouse. Where are you?"
Exactly.
Very cool. And that functionality will be available from your mobile app.
Yes.
Can you bring up real quick the mobile? I know if Android and iPhone, Apple have web pages for their mobile apps. Are you able to bring that up on your web browser? I just wanted to see, kind of show the viewers the link to the, there you go. So those respective buttons will bring you to the mobile app. Excellent. Good. I think we achieved our goal today, Fred. I'm really excited that you participated with me. I really, really am thankful for your time. I'm going to send you or your people an email. I send out an email campaign about once a month to all our past guests and all the guests we like to have. And I really hope that you might consider coming back again periodically to either do a deeper dive on a feature or just kind of renew this video, because software is ever iterating, right? I mean, there's a long roadmap, a long future for Zola. You guys aren't getting sunsetted with your, being acquired, right?
I'm sorry, are we being sunsetted?
No, I'm just saying, like, there's a long future for
Zola. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right?
There's massive investment going into product and client service, really all aspects of business, but really huge focus on product. And we are really scaling our engineering team because we have so much of our vision to still implement.
So that's my point. I just that even this is a point in time. The title of this is gonna be EVERNET Review Zola Suite, June 2022. Zola. We don't know what Zola is gonna look like in 3 months, 6 months. So I just hope that you come back and show us what Zola is up to in the future. Sound good?
Yeah, it'll be my pleasure.
All right, I'm going to take us out. I am your host of EVERNET Reviews, CEO of EVERNET Consulting, the nation's leader in IT services and support for law firms and more. Find us at evernetcode.com and schedule a discovery call with me. I'm just going to make a quick disclosure here. Thank you so much for joining me. I'd like to thank our guest for his time and sharing. I hope you all have viewed this as entertaining and learned something. EVERNET is an independent business and IT services and consulting company and does not offer any warranty or guarantee of the products or services discussed today. Any relationship formed by and between EVERNET and our clients are wholly separate from any formed with our guest and their respective company. Please leave any comments down below, or if you have any questions or thoughts, or if you think we missed anything, If you have a product or service you would like to review, please go to evernet.tv and fill out the pod guest survey intake. That is all I have. Thanks again, Fred. I'm going to just take us out, and I'll see you later.
Thank you, Eric.